Yeah, and while there has been plenty of media attention around them, look at back over the other side of the pond, and the Prince and Princess of Wales have been keeping a relatively low profile. That said, Kate has apparently been busily rebranding herself. Do you think she's simply levelling up with her more senior role, or is she finally seeing off Meghan, as some people have suggested?
It's wicked things you say. I think there's probably a little bit of both in it. I certainly think she's 41 years old now. She's really come into her own. Her popularity is absolutely assured. We're talking about Kate, we're talking about the Princess of Wales. She's got new advisors around her, particularly one lady, can't remember her name now, but a real toughie is a sort of one of her main assistants. So beyond the exterior that we all see, the smiling face, the easy way with crowds, the wonderful way Kate has with children, there is also some steel going on there, the determination to sort of set herself out a role, rather as you say. But is she seeing off Meghan in the process? Well, if that's a byproduct of what's going on, how jolly convenient. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Pushing Meghan further and further into the background. But I think we might have time to discuss this a little bit later, but the coronation looms, and of course that could be very, very tricky all round in terms of should Harry and Meghan be invited? If they're invited, will that overshadow? Is there a danger of it overshadowing Kate? And of course William. I don't think people in this country, in the UK, will feel that they'll be definitely on William and Kate's side in the main. But the news people, the reporters, the cameras, they're all going to be chasing Harry and Meghan. That's another issue further down the line. So it is important, I think, that William and his wife, Kate, the Prince and Princess of Wales, the heir to the throne and the future Queen one day, let's hope many years in the future. It's important that their role is made very, very clear, the sort of thing they are prepared to do, the thing they are good at doing, getting it very clearly set out now. That is what is happening.
And do you think, because people always see that smiling and empathetic Kate, that they'd necessarily expect this sort of positioning from her? Like, I actually think it's really quite an important thing for her to do, given how senior she's going to be going forward. But do you think it's something that the average person in the street would expect from her?
Oh, I think so. Yes, I think so. I think we want to see, people like to see, there's no point in having royalty and monarchy unless they are seen, unless they're getting involved in things. The very last thing we need in this country, if we go back in our history, very fond of our history, of course, as you know, Queen Victoria, back in the 1800s, she lost her husband, Prince Albert, her beloved Prince Albert, very early, and she went into mourning. She withdrew from public life for many years, really, and did the monarchy an awful lot of damage in the process. She had to be coaxed out back into the public eye. Prime ministers would say to her, "Come along, ma'am, monarchy is there to be seen to be doing things. There's no point in it at all unless it has an active role to play." And the people advising, they don't have to advise the king. Charles knows very well indeed what his role is, but those advising William and Kate will be saying to them, this is the sort of thing we've got to be seen to be doing. This is your life for many years to come, but it's got to be high profile. Got to be high profile all the time. Otherwise, there frankly is not any point to it.
Now moving on to Charles and something coronation related. This week the palace released the royal coronation emblem. Can you run us through this, and can you explain the symbolism within the emblem?
Yes, I will try to. I have to remind myself to put my glasses on and make sure I get it absolutely right. The point about this country now, a lot of people in Australia will be familiar, but in case you're not, we call it the United Kingdom, and it is still at the moment just about the United Kingdom, although Scotland, there's a great move towards independence in Scotland. To be absolutely clear about that, though, it's not about breaking away from the crown. Whoever is on the throne, it's now King Charles, and one day it will be King William V. There's no suggestion by the Scottish people that they want to get rid of that, but it does mean the kingdom is sort of in bits, if you like, and in danger of flying apart. So I think the important thing about having an emblem for the coronation, which will be the symbol used every time the coronation is mentioned or covered or in any way represented publicly, this emblem will be along with it. And it will have all these elements. So we've got the rose of England, the thistle of Scotland, the daffodil for Wales, and the shamrock for Northern Ireland. Those four key parts of this United Kingdom for the moment, all put together. And I think it's full of symbolism, but it is a reminder for everybody that at the moment we still all cling together. A couple of things to be said about that as well. When we had a referendum, and there was a referendum in Scotland a few years ago about whether they should break away and become not part of the United Kingdom anymore, very interesting then that the Queen said one or two things. One particular thing, when she heard the results of the referendum, was said to be very pleased. And before the referendum, our late Queen said that she thought people in Scotland should think very carefully. And what people did then was run a microscope over those words. What does she really mean? I think we all know she was talking about trying to keep the United Kingdom together. So this bit of symbolism, this logo, it's not just there for decoration. It does mean something rather important. For those who think we want to keep this country together, we want to keep the United Kingdom united, it very much represents that. You won't hear King Charles saying anything very specific about, please don't break away Scotland and all that sort of thing. Never going to do that. Keeps out of politics, and this is politics of the highest sort. But in the background, let's understand what people at the top of this country, our royalty in this case, what they probably think.
And just one last thing, with this emblem, is that something that we historically have in coronations? And if so, how does this one compare to ones of the past?
I can't recall it. No, I don't think so. You see, you have to go back a long way for coronations. The Queen, the late Queen, Queen Elizabeth, came to the throne in 1952, but wasn't crowned until the following year, 1953. You then have to go back to 1937 for her father, King George VI, for his coronation. And logos and emblems, they're pretty modern. They're sort of marketing tools, aren't they? That's the important thing about them. And those sort of things didn't really exist. I can't really recall anything exactly parallel at all. We are breaking new territory here. And if we've got a few seconds to say, the other important thing is, of course, this coronation will probably be very different from previous ones.
Right.
The 1953 coronation, which I'm just old enough to remember, was very, very long. Went on for ages and ages and ages, more than a couple of hours. This one will be much shorter, and it will be much more modern in all sorts of ways. We don't quite know exactly what will be done differently. We haven't got all the details of that yet. We might have to wait for the day itself in May. Everybody, you'll all be watching. I know you will. We'll all be riveted by it.